Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Bootleg presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. This is your Tennessean high school football. It's now the playoff shows. We are in the third week of the postseason for Division II. That means we're in the state semifinals. For Division I, we are in the state quarterfinals. And folks, what a week it's been already. Of course, you may know that McMinn County, their season is over after the TSSAA ruled that Dobbins-Bennett will advance. Of course, that was kind of the weekend breaking news of the playoffs, really, where the game was stopped right before the kickoff, or maybe 30 minutes before kickoff. They both teams went back to the locker room, and it was ruled that McMinn County would have to basically have their season end. There was some there's some issues with some concerns with COVID, I guess is the best way to put it. And they didn't get the information they wanted from the health department there in McMinn County soon enough. So the TSSAA said that Dobbins-Bennett was advancing. Aaron Torres, you've been covering it. Do I have it about right?
Yeah, that's about right. I mean, the TSSAA tried very hard all day yesterday to reschedule the game for today, but they didn't get the information they needed from the McMinn County Health Department.
Yeah, so I think there were some questions on contact tracing maybe that they wanted to see from what I've kind of heard and maybe seen, but they didn't get what they were wanting, whatever it was, but they are now out of the playoffs. So with that being said, of course, Dobbins-Bennett will now travel to Merrillville. Congratulations. You go, you get past what has been a weird Friday night, and now you get to see the defending 6A state champs. So we're going to start the show. We got 3 topics. Those topics will be where everyone will be at for this week's playoffs, biggest surprise from last week, and who should be on upset alert notice for this week in the playoffs. Not saying they're going to get upset. I'm saying, who do you think, if someone's going to get upset, this may be the team? Obviously, there are a lot less teams. We're all hoping that all the games will be played this week. Of course, we had 3 or 4 games postponed or canceled due to COVID this past week. Hopefully, we're at the point where we can get through the rest of the week or the rest of the playoffs without any cancellations. Where are you going? Round 3. Let's start. Michael Odom. Where will you be Friday night?
I will be at the Class 4A quarterfinal as Lexington host Hardin County. It's a rematch of the Region 6 4A championship that was played October 16th that Lexington won by 13. It's going to have 2 Mr. Football finalists, which was announced on Tuesday. Connor Wood is a finalist for kicker for Lexington, and Rivers Hunt, the quarterback for Hardin County, is a finalist for the 4A award. Lexington has the leading rusher in West Tennessee in Isaiah McLean, while Hardin County has the leading pass attack between Rivers Hunt and receiver Caden Pope.
And Rivers Hunt was a semifinalist or finalist last year, was he not?
He was a semifinalist last year and got in as a finalist this year with his 2,500 yards passing.
Okay. Give me a prediction in that game. Who wins that game?
I think Lexington pulls it out 24-21. It's a game that could really go either way.
Okay. Aaron Torres, where will you be at Friday night? And give me a breakdown of the game and give me a prediction.
I will be at Oak Ridge at West for the Class 5A quarterfinal. West, I think, has been the best 5A team all season, but Oak Ridge has really turned it on as of late. They've won 6 straight games, and they've been led by running back Kendall Jackson, who's rushed for a touchdown in every game. Last week, he ran for 74 yards, but had 3 touchdowns in the win over Ray County. And so Oak Ridge, Joe Gaddis is very big on establishing the run game, and it was something that they kind of struggled with early in the season, especially because Kendall was hurt. He was battling some ankle injury or an ankle injury earlier on this season. But now that he's fully healthy, it's been really helpful. And that's the reason why Oak Ridge was able to get past Powell in the second to last week of the regular season, and why they were able to get past Ray County last week, which Ray County was undefeated. So I still have West winning that game. It was 22-7 in week 5 when they played. I have West winning 24-17 I think Oak Ridge scores more.
Okay. Cecil Joyce.
I'm going to Riverdale at Oakland, Class 6A state quarterfinals. Fourth time these two teams have met in the 6A. Well, I don't know if it was 6A back in the 90s, but fourth time they met in the state quarterfinals. Riverdale has won 2 of those. Oakland has won 1. The first meeting, the score was a little misleading. It was 30-7 Oakland, but that game could have easily been 9-7 at halftime. Isaiah Horton made a great acrobatic 35-yard touchdown catch just before halftime, put Oakland up 16-7, and then they rolled in the second half. Riverdale was without starting quarterback Jamison Holcomb for that game too, so he is back for this game. He played well in the playoff. This is going to be a great game, folks. I know Oakland has that stranglehold. They've won 8 in a row over Riverdale, including a couple playoff games during that stretch. Riverdale's defense is playing outstanding. They've given up 1 defensive touchdown in their last 3 games. They allowed a couple of kickoff returns last week for touchdowns, but their defense is playing incredible. Oakland's defense is playing incredible. They've allowed 400, I believe, total yards in their last 3 games. Their first team unit did not allow a touchdown last week at Mount Juliet. They shut out Rossview the week before. So this could be a defensive game. I'm calling for more of a defensive game than an offensive one, although Oakland's offense is really clicking on all cylinders right now as well. I'm going to go with Oakland 28-14, and it might not be that much scoring.
So you're saying, Will Kreisky, you got a chance. It can be a defense. To me,
most definitely have a chance.
I think defensive battles, you got to think it helps Riverdale just because they're so good on defense. And hey, at some point that streak has to end, right? So
right.
Joe Spears.
Yeah, this week I've got a really good one. I've got a Class 5A quarterfinal between Summit and Beach. Summit coming off of a 28-14 win over Columbia that Destin Wade really – he just was incredible in that game. He had 246 yards on the ground, accounted for all 4 of the Spartans' touchdowns, and they really needed him in that game. Columbia gave Summit more of a game than maybe a lot of people expected. They had a couple really big plays to get them within striking distance at times, but Destin Wade was just too much. And I talked to Summit's coach after the game, and he said, he wasn't exactly happy with how they played outside of Destin, and with Beach ahead of them, they needed that sort of game because they haven't really been tested that much this year. Beach enters this game off of a 36-0 win over Hillsborough in a game that they really had no issues with. So I think that'll be a really good game. Summit needed last week, I think. They needed that wake-up call. And I think Destin Wade he's clicking at the right time. The Spartans' defense is playing really well too. But I think they win that one 31-28, and probably, in my opinion, what could be the game of the week.
Let's go to George Robinson.
I will be going to Henry County, northeastern Henry County, for another Region 7-5A game. These two teams met about 3 weeks ago, and Henry County just kind of laid waste to them, 58-0. That was for the region championship, actually. So, Clarksville still, going. Paris is where the high school playoff hopes die for Montgomery County public schools. They just haven't had any luck beating Henry County in the playoffs in the postseason. I think Henry County is 6-0 against teams in Clarksville in the postseason. So, Northeast is going to try their best to put up a fight in Paris. I don't think they're going to come out the winners on Friday night. I do think it'll be a little bit better game. Of course, that first game, Northeast, they turned the ball over on the very first play of their game. And then, everything just kind of went downhill from there. So, and of course, Henry County's so talented. They can beat you in multiple ways. They don't have any issues finding athletes to give the ball to in order to score touchdowns. I mean, they're led by Jamarcus Johnson, the running back. Obviously, their quarterback, Ryan Damron, is very talented. They have a great wide receiver in Jawan Odoms, and even a secondary back, a kind of a short, shifty, smaller, kind of fast back in the Kendall kid. So, this team is talented. They can hurt you in a variety of different ways. And for Northeast, it's really just about trying to play ball control. and keep Henry County's offense off the field. And the only way they're going to do that is to run Juwan Harris, the big Northeast running back, had 120 yards last week against Clarksville in that second round win. So, if they can maybe keep Henry County's offense off the field for as much as possible, maybe they have a shot. But like I said, going to Paris in the postseason, Clarksville area schools are 0-6. So I think the Patriots win this 42-14.
Kari, perfect timing. Where are you at this week? And give me a prediction.
Well, I already know where I'm going to be at for the next 2 weeks because I have so few teams left thanks to COVID. I'm going to be at Bartlett this week, and then I'm going to go see the winner of Bartlett versus Collierville next week. I think that's going to be a good one. It went to overtime in the regular season. Bartlett won on a play-action touchdown pass from 10 yards out. It was 35-27 in that game. So I'm looking forward to another great game. And, I think I'm picking the upset this week. I'm taking Collierville. I know it's not going to be a popular pick in the Memphis area, but I think that Hudson Hollenbeck is going to nail a last-second field goal to give Collierville a 27-24 lead win.
You realize the game this week's at Bartlett, right?
Yeah, I said I'm going Bartlett.
Yeah, but you picked an upset.
Yeah.
Yeah, people in Bartlett aren't going to like you when you walk in the football stadium.
Look, when I call upsets, I call upsets. I called Father Ryan over MUS over Father Ryan last week.
I don't want to hear it. Don't want to hear it.
By more.
No trash. This is a no trash talk show toward the moderator. We will not talk about Father Ryan losing. All right, that will not happen.
MUS winning, not Father Ryan losing.
Oh, okay. Well, folks, I will be Good Pasture at CPA. That's a Division II AA semifinal. This is the 10th straight semifinal for CPA to be in. Of course, some of those were in Division I, in 3A when they were playing against Alcoa in championship games, et cetera, et cetera. I like this game a lot. The Good Pasture, I think, has improved so much under first-year coach Tyler Turner, who, of course, came from the Olive Branch, Mississippi there. And before that, he was at Liberty Tech in the Jackson area. I think, Brendan Jones from Good Pasture has been a game changer for Good Pasture this year. Cooper Pennington has been lights out at quarterback. But here's the thing, CPA with Mr. Football finalist Langston Patterson at linebacker, and you're starting to see more of a run game with him. Cade Law can run it and throw it. They've got to develop another safety valve at receiver with the loss of Maverick Rodriguez, who's out for the season at wide receiver. I also like Tyler Reed at running back. He's been a great season there too. I like CPA to win this game and get back to like their third or fourth or however many state championship games in a row this is for the Lions. CPA 35, Good Pasture 21, but it'll be a great season and a great landing pad for next year for Good Pasture. So CPA wins this game 35-21, but great game for both teams. Biggest surprise from last week, Michael Odom, what do you got?
You've got to go with Hardin County getting the win over Springfield. Springfield over the past 4 years is 12-1 against West Tennessee teams. Their lone loss was 2 years ago. Haywood beat them in the state semifinals. But Friday night, Hardin County took the West Tennessee bandwagon and was finally able to knock off Springfield. Springfield was up by 8 points with about 5 minutes to go. After breaking off a 65-yard touchdown run, Hardin County drove the field. Rivers Hunt was 6 of 7 on that drive, including the touchdown pass, the 2-point conversion pass. And then I guess Springfield muffed a punt snap, and Hardin County was able to kick a field goal with 3 seconds left to get that win. Big win for Hardin County to get back to the semifinals for the first time since 96.
Don't think my loyal Springfield listeners really need that description of the game. They lived it, but good. That was a big upset, and congrats to Hardin County. Moving on, what does Buddy pick for the biggest surprise there, Aaron?
It was definitely for me Anderson County losing to Greenville. I thought I thought Anderson County would get past Greenville this season after losing to them the previous 3 straight years in the playoffs. I mean, they were up in the final 2 minutes or a few minutes in the game, and then Greenville just drove down the field needing a touchdown to win the game, and the Ajate Dabbs caught the game-winning 15-yard touchdown with less than 30 seconds left. I certainly wasn't expecting that to happen. I had Anderson County winning, and I had Anderson County going to the state championship and winning the first state championship in school history. So that for me was the biggest surprise of last week.
Buddy looks upset with your surprise pick. I think he was going to pick the Dobbins-Bennett McMinn County game as a surprise, but that's just me. Cecil, what do you got?
Well, there were no big upsets in my actual coverage area. I'm going to go outside of it a little bit. I was thinking either Franklin and Ravenwood or Goodpasture CAK. I know you probably want to talk about one of those, Tom, so I'll probably talk about the one I think you won't talk about. I'm going to talk about Goodpasture CAK. I don't think it was a huge upset in some of our minds that Goodpasture could win that game, but to beat an undefeated team and to put up 61 points on them, that's pretty much a statement win. I know you spoke, on the great job Coach has done there at Goodpasture, Coach Turner, and they're rolling right now. But to score 61 on an unbeaten team in the second round, that's an upset to me. That's a big surprise.
I think I'm going to go to Michael Odom's neck of the woods and say Riverside beating Lewis County. Not only beating them, they shut them out. These two teams played first week of the year, and Lewis County won 8-7. So, I mean, we kind of figured Riverside would give them a game. But since that game, Lewis County's averaged almost 39 points per game and really haven't had any issues. They play Riverside. Riverside shuts them out 12-0. It's the third time the Panthers have beat them in the last 3 years in the playoffs. So it's a great win for Riverside. A lot of momentum going into Waverly on Friday, which is a big game. They need that. Waverly beat up on them earlier in the year, but I saw that score and I was kind of shocked because I thought it'd be a low scoring game, but I definitely did not think they would shut Lewis County out.
Well, I could have went with a few games that were a little bit surprising to me, not least of which was Stewart County beating Giles County last Friday night. I thought about good, like Cecil said, Goodpasture hanging 61 on CAK and Nashville Christian beating Kings Academy, pretty handily there. But I think the biggest surprise for me is, and Joe kind of stole my thunder there, is the Riverside Lewis County game. Just the fact that Lewis County didn't score a point in that game, and they've been 10-0 all year. I know they're among the favorites in Class 2A. I won't go on and on because Joe, pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. But that one for me was probably the biggest surprise. I felt like Stewart County had a good chance of beating Giles County this year. In the way that they played against Stratford in the first round, I figured they'd had some momentum going. So that didn't necessarily surprise me, but certainly that Riverside Lewis County game did.
Kari.
Maybe I shouldn't say this is a surprise because COVID is undefeated this year, but COVID stole 2 more games from me last week, guys. I mean, didn't let Covington get the chance to go up there and beat Milan, and didn't give Lausanne a chance to go play Lipscomb. Like, come on, COVID taking all my games.
Wait, beat Milan? You're saying play? They were going to go play 4 quarters.
They were going to get that win.
Oh boy. At least you're not talking smack on Nashville right now. We all know Lipscomb would have won. And hey, here's the interesting thing about Milan. Milan right now is in the 3rd round of the playoffs and have yet to take the field for a playoff game. Of course, they had a bye in the first round, and now they got a cancellation in the second round. So we'll see if Milan actually gets to play on the football field this week. I'm going to talk about 2 games, and you'll know they kind of link hand in hand. Franklin. Cecil mentioned it. Franklin upsets Ravenwood 31-28. Connor Beaven, 23 of 34 passing for 304 yards and 3 touchdowns. This kid has had multiple 300-yard games in the second half of the season. Great game by them. Great season by Ravenwood, I think their quarterback got hurt in that game, had to go to a backup. Jake Brennan stole six catches for 81 yards. And what it does, it sets up a Franklin Brentwood quarterfinal that we really haven't seen. You think that, two of the biggest rivals and oldest rivalries, we'd have more in this. We haven't really had. I think this is like the 6th meeting, I believe, in the postseason between these two historic teams. And for Donnie Webb, I mean, here's the thing, folks. They went 5-5 in the regular season. They were the 4th seed in the playoffs. They beat top seed Smyrna in round 1, and now they go to Ravenwood and beat a Ravenwood team that didn't have to play in week 1 of the playoffs due to a COVID cancellation by Stewart's Creek, and they beat them. And they move on to a quarterfinal game where they'll play Brentwood. And then herein lies the second part of the surprise. You look at what last week. I was trying to dodge this horrendous glare here. Last week, the first week of the playoffs, Brentwood played without 34 players due to COVID contact tracing. They won that game. The quarterback got hurt, Cade Granzo. He got hurt, and Davis White came in and played. Tremendous game. Cade comes back this week. I believe I believe from what I've been told, Davis White may have been quarantined this week, so he may not have been available. Cade comes in, plays a tremendous game against a very talented Independence team, and Jackson Campbell, who was a Mr. Football semifinalist this year. Great dual threat season for him. And they come down there. They're like 4th and 5, 18 seconds left. And he has perhaps the game of the play of the year. And it's on our website right now on Tennessean.com, where he rolls out to his left. He's 4th and 5. He's rolling out. He thinks about maybe taking off running. A guy is getting ready to tackle him. And as he's falling down, he has the vision to see a teammate in the end zone by himself, and he literally tossed it underhand like a shortstop would throw to a second baseman on a double play ball. Tossed it underhand over the defense right into the receiver's hands. And then they come back with a 2-point conversion to make it a 3-point win, where Cade throws a great pass. Aaron Walton has a one-handed grab, it was his Odell Beckham moment, and he kept 1 foot in bounds. I mean, those 2 plays there are 2 plays you don't see it hardly at any game. We saw back-to-back plays there to pull off the big upset over, well, I guess the win over Independence. I don't know if it was an upset, but if you look at everything Brentwood's been dealing with, it, maybe it was an upset. And of course, Indy beat them in the regular season. So that's my surprise. One was a surprise of seeding, and one was a surprise of just how they won, because Brentwood pretty much had the game lost, down to their last play of the game, and then boom, we had a great moment, great Tennessee high school football moment that we'll remember that play for a long time. Now we're going to go on to who should be on an upset alert this week. I know we have fewer teams. I know I'm not necessarily telling you, say, pick this team as the upset, but give me a team that you think very well could be on upset alert status this week. Michael Odom.
I'm going to have to piggyback off Joe here in Riverside. They avenged a regular season loss to Lewis County last week. This week, they're going against the team that beat them for the region championship, Waverly. Waverly won 21-0 in the regular season, week 11. They've got to be on upset alert. Riverside just finds a way in the postseason to win games. Last year, they avenged 2 losses in the regular season to reach the semifinals. Here again, they can repeat that feat, avenge a second regular season loss, and make it back to the semifinals for a chance to play either Peabody or McKenzie.
Aaron Torres.
I guess the upset alert I'm going with is the game I'll be at, Oak Ridge at West. Even though I picked West to win that game, I wouldn't be surprised if Oak Ridge won that game. I mean, it's not really – I don't know if it would be a big upset. I think West will win the Class 5A state championship. But, I mean, Oak Ridge played them well defensively in week 5. They lost 22-7. But their defense played West well. They forced a lot of turnovers. The problem was that Oak Ridge couldn't get anything going on offense. Kendall Jackson was held to 2 yards that entire game and no touchdowns. Now, while that does seem bad, it was his first game back from the ankle injury, so he didn't really have any offensive rhythm. And now that he's got at least 100 rushing yards in 5 of the last 6 games and has scored a touchdown in 6 straight games, I could see him doing a lot better this game. And I still think Oak Ridge will play West fairly well defensively, so I see that as a low-scoring game.
Cecil Joyce, give me a team that could be on upset alert.
I'm going to kind of have a two-headed monster approach to this. And I'm not necessarily saying either is going to be an upset, but Maryville and Oakland, don't look ahead to next week to each other. We're going to have tough games this week. Maryville is playing a Dobbins Bennett team that didn't have to take the field to advance. They had a week rest. Early in the year, some Maryville folks said they thought Dobbins Bennett might be the best team out of that area. I think Dobbins Bennett lost earlier kind of probably squalled those hopes. But Oakland, obviously, we spoke about them earlier. We know Riverdale is hungry. Riverdale really wants this win. They always want the win, but this year I think they really feel like this is their best chance of getting to the semifinals or getting to a championship game. So Oakland and Maryville, don't look ahead to next week. You have really tough games this week.
Joe Spears, what do you got?
I'm going to go with the game that you're going to be at, Tom. I think CPA needs to be on upset alert. Tyler Turner, he's really turned this team around, but he's got a history of beating CPA in the playoffs. When he was at Liberty in 2016, they beat CPA 33-20 in the semifinals. So not saying it's going to happen. I picked CPA to win state, but I think Good Pasture is peaking right now, and they're playing really well. They're playing really good football. So that could be a really good game.
George Robinson, you're up next.
I was going to try to spice it up a little bit. So I have 3 maybe upset alerts. I'll go through them really quick. Don't do that. I think, and like the other guys, I don't know that necessarily these things will happen, but I do like to maybe think ahead a little bit. I'm looking at Meigs County and South Green in Class 2A. I think Oak Ridge and Knox West. Don't laugh at me in 5A. I think that's another game you have to. You're going to have to. I think Knox West is going to have to kind of look out for. And then Franklin at Brentwood in 6A. Franklin's been playing really well. I think Brentwood's going to have to really kind of. I think they're going to have to play well in order to advance. Now I had a 4th one. But it really just, it's kind of.
Let's do the 4th one. I want to hear the 4th one.
Okay. Well, it's kind of a toss up, and it really depends on, what school you go to. So I don't know. Maybe, Summit beating Beach. Is that an upset? Maybe Beach beating Summit. I think those are 2 equally matched teams. So I don't necessarily think it's an upset, but certainly that's going to be one of the best games this Friday night. So
we've got everything else covered. I think we can just go home. Kari, what do you have to add?
I just want to remind y'all that Lipscomb Academy is playing the defending state champs at home this week. Just want to remind y'all.
So ECS is on upset alert?
No, I'm saying ECS gonna pull the upset. Lipscomb is the favored one, I'd say, because they beat Briarcrest 42-0. They beat St. George's 62-3. I mean, they've been demolishing my Memphis area private school teams, but maybe ECS has something different for them. Who knows?
My upset alerts. I said plural alerts. I do like the Franklin. Franklin better is. I would think about Franklin, but I just look at what Brentwood has overcome this year with the COVID in round 1 and winning in a miraculous game and knowing what Coach Crawford has been dealing with. It's just the Cinderella story, I think, of with everything they're dealing with this playoff. So I'm not going to pick that upset. I just think that emotionally they'll carry through. Then I thought DCA, USJ. I know DCA is 11-0. I think a lot of people named Michael Odom or think USJ is the heavy favorite there. Maybe so, but so DCA maybe a slight upset alert there, but I think DCA handles USJ. But my upset alert should be in Fayetteville High School. They 10-2. They host Moore County 11-1. You're saying, well, 11-1, 10-2. Moore County lost to Fayetteville in the regular season. I like Moore County to pull this one out as a potential upset there. I take that back. I'm not necessarily gonna pick them to win. I think they're gonna. This is perhaps the game of the week. Last time it came down to the very end. I think Fayetteville is going to take everything they need, everything they have to beat them again. Of course, Kyler Parker, the quarterback at Moore County, was named a Mr. Football finalist today. Fayetteville may not even like that. I mean, they've got a lot of athletes there that really didn't have much conversation for Mr. Football this year. So Fayetteville, you're on upset alert. I think it's going to be a great game. Chris White, first year, has done a great job there at Moore County, and that's what I've got. Appreciate everyone joining us. We'll be everywhere, it seems like, from Memphis to Knoxville on Friday night, reporting on games, some semifinals, some quarterfinals. Make sure you give us a follow on Twitter. I will be sending out a tweet on Friday, letting everyone know where all of our people will be at. Of course, follow me on Krager, and we'll have all these guys' Twitter handles on it as well. And we'll let you know exactly where everyone in our statewide coverage will be at Friday night. You've been watching the Bootleg, presented by Farm Bureau Health Plans. It's round 3. It's the quarterfinals for Division I, semifinals for Division II. We'll see you Friday night on a high school football field near you.